Good morning everyone and good morning teacher. Today we group 1 are going to talk about industries, global industrial shifts. First of all, we would like to pay our highly respect to our Professor Vottasidi. Our team consisted of 7 members. We are me, Pasarawan, Sarun Bunawat, Paul Chunmai, Lim Sawansuthi, Kim Yu-hee, Pekanikami, and Lin Chanangsai. Today we are going to focus on how has global manufacturing industry changed. Trend of transference. Why do industries move their manufacturing activities? Impacts of the trend of transference. Growth of newly industrializing economics. In history, global industry has shifted from one development stage to another development stage. So how has global manufacturing industry changed? First of all is the development of large-scale manufacturing. During the 18th and early 19th centuries, there was a major change took place. It started in the UK and spread all over the world. The change was later known as Industrial Revolution. During the period of change, there were some features. There were the development of machines driven by steam power. These machines were first used in the manufacturing of textiles goods, then were introduced to other industries leading to large-scale manufacturing. During the time, the economies in Asia, Africa, South America, and the Middle East were still largely dependent on primary industries, especially in countries where there are a lot of natural resources. Secondary industries, on the other hand, tended to be cottage industries, which involve manufacturing that is small scale and usually takes place in workers' homes. Next is the industrialization due to the large-scale manufacturing. By the 20th century, some industries or countries in North America and many countries in Europe had become highly industrialized because of large-scale manufacturing. As a result, they had developed or improved their economies. They also improved their living conditions and infrastructure, and these countries are called developed countries. However, many countries in Asia, Africa, South America, and the Middle East had not become highly developed. They were still domesticated by primary industries. For example, in the year 2000, the proportion of exports of primary products in Uganda, Yemen, and Nigeria was over 90%. They relied heavily on primary industries. They had poor infrastructure to support their development, and these countries still had low living conditions and economies. They are regarded as less developed countries. Let us look at this graph. This graph shows the percentage of exports made up of primary products in selected countries in the year 2000. As we could see on the graph on the right, we could see that Japan and Sweden and the USA are countries that are developed, so they do not rely on exports, while Uganda, Yemen, and Nigeria, they are less developed countries, so they rely on exporting their primary goods or materials to the world. As a result, we could see that most less developed countries relied on primary industry to export their primary goods. This is the end of my part. Next, I would like to pass the floor to my next teammate.
Hello teachers and everyone, my name is Lam Savansuthi, and I'm going to talk about trend of transference. In simple meaning, trend of transference is the development of the actions of transferring something. But right now, we are talking about global industrial. So, it's referred to the manufacturing activity that has been relocated or transferred to the new form of industries in order to make it big or small, but profitable. It has started since 1960s and have different stages in different period of time. There's 4 stages that we are going to study. First stages it start from the 1960s, and people who are living in the development country start to moving out to the less development countries. Because the living condition cost and labor costs are high, it has been increasing every day in development country. So people can't afford it and they get less profit in doing manufacturing activity. That's why they start moving out and relocated the place in less development country. They would get more chance to get more profit, and they also get the incentive from the government in less development country too. Second stage. It starts from 1970s to the early of 1980s. In this period, capital-intensive industries began to replace labor-intensive industry in some less development country. People don't want to spend a large amount of money for people work, so instead of this, they do the machinery and chemical industry. This happens in Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and China. After this change, international trade and investment grow rapidly as well as technology advancement. Third stage. It starts from late 1980s to 1990s. After focusing on capital-intensive industries, in some less development countries get wealthier and their people get more educated. That would go to another level of high technology industries, which requires knowledge and skill as well as expensive equipment. Here we can look at the table. This talk about the amount of output from high technology industry in some Asian countries that increased significantly from 1985 to 1992. Fourth stage. In the mid-1990s, companies start practicing outsourcing, which doing contract with other companies in order to be responsible for the part of company's plan. It could be with foreigners company. Let me tell you more about outsourcing by giving the example of it. The processing of insurance claims and the provisions of helpdesk service for industries based in the development country are outsourced to less developed countries. The helpdesk service in India for the American company. This shows how India is the part of plan in doing contract with American. Now, we have already discussed about 4 stages of trend of transference. Let's look at the reason. Why do industries move their manufacturing activities? As you know, in development countries are very competitive in doing manufacturing activities. So people start moving out and relocated their industry to less development country so that they can achieve competitive advantages. Furthermore, it also attracts government intensive or a large market. Lower cost is one of the reasons that cause industry move their manufacturing activities. As the place develops over time in development country, the standard and cost of living also rise. As a result, people demand higher wages, while in less developed country, the cost is lower than. You can look at the line graph. A factory workers in Sri Lanka, a development country, may expect to be paid 48 cents per hour, while a factory worker in the same skills in the United States, a development country, may expect to be paid $19.76 per hour. This shows how it cost difference between development country and less development country. Now this is the end of my part. Let's move the floor to my next teammate.
Hello teacher and classmates, my name is Lin Chan Rengsai and my point here is talk about attractive government incentive. Governments can offer financial assistance to private business making investment using economic incentive. Incentives can include tax abatement, tax revenue, sharing grants, infrastructure assistance, no or low interest financing, free land, tax credits, and other financial resources. As example here, the following best practice can help government make the most of their investment and create fruitful business attraction programs. Move on to the next slide here is talk about large markets. Large market is similar to large cap, sometimes called big cap, refers to company with a market capitalization value of more than $10 billion. Large cap is a shortened version of the term large market capitalization, and large market product means any product intended for liquid, fungible markets such as foil markets and large chemical markets. Market is defined as the sum total of all the buyers and sellers in the area or region under consideration. The market may be local or global, perfect and imperfect. A market can be called the available market, that of all the people in the area. Within the available market, there is the market minimum or the market size, which will buy goods without any marketing effort. This is the lowest sale that a company could get without any action on its part.
Okay, so thank you Rangsai for explaining so briefly about your part. So my name is Becca Nakambi and let's move on to my part, which I'm gonna explain about space shrinking technologies and transport technologies. So over the years, the development of advanced technologies has helped to reduce the time taken to travel, transport raw material and products, and communication between countries. Space shrinking technology is the process that is made by technological innovation in transportation and communication by which distant places are brought closer together in terms of the time taken to travel between them. And it is also include the use of transport technologies, containerizations, and communication technologies. So the term of shrinking world are often referred to as a time-space compression, suggests that this rapid rate of globalization has made the world feel smaller, that we are more connected to the people on the other side of the world than ever before. So let's move on to the next part, which is about transport technologies. So while the physical distance between places have remained unchanged, the advancement in transport technologies has helped to reduce the relative distance or time taken to travel between countries or can across the country in a few hundred miles outer space. And there are 5 types of transportation, which are railway, roadway, airway, waterway, and pipelines. And so transportation technology will change everything, which the modern world has been built are on the verge of significant transformations, and intelligent transportation systems are making driving and traffic management better and safe for everyone. Moreover, traffic and population growth create demand for more transportation infrastructure, but many people don't have sufficient money or space to build more road and rail. So, as an example, in the 1930s, an aeroplane carrying about 11 passengers took about 8 days to travel from London to Bangkok. And 2002, in the development of the jet engine, the same journey could be completed in 10 hours with a capacity of 400 passengers. Also, goods can also be transferred and transported by cargo ship and commercial jet aircraft quickly from one place to another. Just so you know, cargo ships are large ships that can transport large amounts of goods over long distance. Companies may choose to transport goods using cargo ships as it is cheaper to transport large and bulky goods by sea compared to air. The ship can transport anything from planes, engines to clothing, and commercial jet aircraft have made traveling easier and more comfortable. Moreover, the level of interaction among people around the world has increased. They have also allowed for faster movement of goods around the world, which make it possible to transport and transfer other goods, and so on. Processing factories no longer need to be near the source of raw material, as they can now be transported quickly from its source to processing factories. And so my part has come to the end, and I would like to give the opportunity to my group member Yuhi, and he's gonna explain about the containerization and communication technology.
Containerization has helped to increase the speed and efficiency of moving goods. Previously, goods had to be loaded and unloaded manually from ships. This process is slow and laborious. However, with the use of standard-sized containers to hold goods, loading and unloading of goods had become faster and more efficient. Hence, this shortened the time that ships have to dock at a port. Transport of technology and containerization have helped free industries from being located near or at their source of raw materials or market. For example, although the iron and coal resources in Japan have been depleted due to earlier industrialization, many iron and steel plants continue to locate in Chiba. Tokyo, due to its strong market for iron and steel products, and those raw materials are likely imported from many countries through the port of Chiba. Communication is the transmission of information from one individual or group to another. Thus, it can take place through the use of communications technology such as satellite technology and optical fiber systems. The development of internet has also greatly improved communication around the world. Technologies such as email and video conferencing have also enabled faster communication between countries. The headquarters of industry in DCs are better able to monitor and coordinate with their branches located in all DCS.
My name is Mai, and I am going to present about impacts of the trend of a transference. But have you ever heard about the impacts of the trend of transference? The trend of a transference have brought about a very changes in industrial activity in developed country and less developed country. It also brought three big impacts. The first impact is shift in manufacturing related job from developed country to less developed country. Industrial and company will relocate manufacturing activity from developed country to less developed country to save the money on labor costs, resulting in fewer people working in manufacturing in developed country. Hence, in the 1970s, there has been a decrease in the proportions of workers employed in manufacturing activity in developed country. At the same time, the proportions of a labor engaged in manufacturing activity in less developed country have increased. Changes in regional manufacturing employment. There have been a significant shift in manufacturing employment between 1970 and 2011. In developed countries, manufacturing comprised 16.8% of the workforce in 1970, but only 12.8% in 2011. In contrast, several regions have increased their focus on manufacturing. For example, the number of people involved in manufacturing activities in East Asia include China and South Korea. 13.9% of the workforce in 1970, but 21.5% in 2011. Southeast Asia went from 11.4% in 1970 to 14% in 2011. India increased from 9.4% in 1920 to 11.6% in 2011. Until the 1990s, the manufacturing jobs made available in less developed countries generally involve low-skill and labor-intensive manufacturing activities. However, since the 1990s, jobs involve high-technology manufacturing activities were created in less developed countries. And the second impact is increase in foreign investment in less developed countries. The trend of a transference had affects the amount of foreign investment flow into a country. When a foreign manufacturer carry out its activities in a country, they have to spend money to obtain resources such as land and labor. As a result, more money flow into the country's economy. The amount of foreign investment flow into selected less developed countries have increased in the 1980s. For example, the amount of foreign investment flow into Thailand have increased from $250 million between 1980 and 1985 to $3,500 million between 1996 and 2000. It increased of 14 times. Foreign investment have also introduced new technology into the country. When manufacturers introduce a new industry to a country, they bring along the technology associated with it. For example, when the Japanese motor vehicle manufacturing company, the Honda Motor Co. Ltd. set up its manufacturing plants in Thailand, it also introduced a motor vehicle manufacturing technology to the country. Using the technology that was introduced to them, Thailand went on to set up their own motor vehicle manufacturing company, and Honda vehicle was first produced in 1984 by Banghan General Company in Yorkshire. It was until 1992 that Honda established its own factory. Today, Honda is a multinational company which has produced many models of cars, including high-performance cars such as HR-V hybrid. In 2015, Thailand automotive industry is the world's 12th largest in the Southeast Asia and in the world. The joint effort of less developed countries will be the key to achieving a more efficient business and investment environments and creating a surefire condition to attract sustainable investment flows. Foreign direct investment have built infrastructure, foster technology transfer, strengthen the legal and policy environments, and support capacity development to promote the creativities and innovations of the less developed country. Foreign direct investment is an important source of development finance for less developed countries and can complement official development assistance. According to United Nations Conference on Trade and Development's global foreign direct investments inflows reached about $852 billion in the first half of 2021, showing a stronger than expected recovery. The increase restored more than 70% of decline recorded in 2020. Benefit of foreign direct investment for less developed country economies are well documented given the appropriate host country policy and a basic level of development. The gain to host country from foreign direct investment can take several other forms. Foreign direct investment allows the transfer of technology, particularly in the form of a new varieties of capital inputs that cannot be achieved through the financial investments or trade in the goods and services. Foreign direct investment can also promote competitions in the domestic input markets. Recipients of foreign direct investments often gain employee training in the course of operating the new business, which contributes to human capital development in the host country. Profit generated by foreign direct investment contribute to corporate tax revenue in the host country.
Moving on to next part. My name is Sarun Bonawat and I will responsible for this part, increase in export of manufactured product in LDC. As you can see, export of manufactured product in LDC have also increased significantly as a result of the trends of transference. To recall from the previous point, what is the trend of transference? The trend of transference means a global shift in locations of large-scale manufacturing activity and a change in the 1960s to to the mid-1990s type of industry. Due to rising labor costs in more economical developed countries, large-scale multinational corporations, or we can say transnational corporations, are moved their manufacturing and production plant to less economical developed. For example, in 1975, the share of manufacturer export to total export was 50.2% in Singapore, 81.9% in Korea, and 81.4% in Taipei. As we continue look at the table, we can see there's a timeline in 1985 to 1995, which showing the increasing in proportions in each country. However, by 1999, this proportion had also increased to 88.5 in Singapore, 92.9 in Korea, and 96.6 in Taipei, respectively. Moving on to the last part, which is about growth of newly industrializing economies. While the trend of transference has benefited from LDC significantly, it is important to note that this trend does not take place in all LDC. For instance, even though countries such as China, India, Korea, and Singapore have grown tremendously from foreign investment, countries in Africa such as Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Egypt have received very little investment, with only 1% of the world's shares of foreign investment. Conversely, LDC that have been significantly influenced by the trends of transference have been able to enjoy rapid growth in their manufacturing industry, resulting in industrializations. These include Thailand, India, and China.
Here's come to the end of our presentations. If you have any questions, please ask. We will answer you as we can. Thank you for paying attention.